What it is, Father Boot. That's right. You're in the big church, the broad church, Church of Moo. Thanks for joining in. I'm gonna do a brief one today. I'm gonna go against my rule of making a new patch each session, because I realized I missed something in the last session. In the last one, I ended up making this patch that you can see now, the so-called mainstream drum machine. But this isn't what I said I was going to make. If you go back to the beginning of the video, I said I was going to make a drum machine, and I was going to put a filter and a digitizer at the end of it. And I didn't do that. So, as much as I like my general approach to the stream, I didn't want to forget this idea and move on while it was still in my head. So I'm just going to do that today. So we have 22 main strums. I'm going to call this patch 23, but it's really an adjustment. And '23. I'm going to call it IDM strums. IDM, of course, being an old genre of music. We don't talk about it much anymore. So-called intelligent dance music. As if other forms were unintelligent. Not a great name, but it is what it is. So, first of all, how am I going to power this edit? We already know we're at 97.4%. Step one is going to be to kill the compressor here. Right-clicking and delete. So let's just give myself a little space here. One thing I said I was going to add is a filter. This is the classic low-pass filter. I use this a ton on the Nord Modular patches. I already know I'm going to need to dial the frequency up a bit so we can hear things. 24 or 18 are my two most common. I don't know which one I'm going to use just yet. Right after that, how much load we got? So killing the compressor gave us about 9%. We're a little under 95. I think I can still do what I needed to do, which was put a digitizer in. My very popular digitizer. And I'm going to turn this off because I always turn this off. And I'm going to use my last bit of 2% left of power to make at least one, clocked random step generator. What did that cost me? Can I have two of those? It cost me 60%. So I can't have two of those. I'm now at 99.3. Ooh, let's just give myself a third. Let's get greedy with it. Why not? Clocked random step generator. So, I'm going to send the clock of 1 to my standard clock here. I'm going to do the same thing for the second one and use the colored version of randomness. I wonder if I should use a different clock for the third one. Maybe, like here you can see that 16 is the one we decided to feed to the sequencers. So why don't we try feeding 8 to this third one? And we'll just leave him without the colored button down. And we're just going to patch in the audio signal. So mixer to filter, filter to digitizer in, and digitizer to the output. So we can hear the pattern again. The sample rate reduction is at about 50%. Let's reduce it or move it to the maximum. We're getting a little bit less volume because, of course, the compressor was kind of like warming things up a bit here. I'm just increasing the volume on the output of the synth. There we go. Don't want to clip. So just to drag this guy down again. Just listen to the sound. So we get this kind of like lo-fi type of sound. I'm going to open the amount I want it to change and feed him a clocked random step generator. You can hear that, right? The amount that this knob is being adjusted in real time is clocked to the tempo of the song. I've talked about this before. I guess I just want to sort of focus on this point. It's a great way to add rhythm and variation to things. Even a boring, repetitive patch like this one will get a lot of rhythm out of it. And same thing here. Let's turn this back off. Now the filter is being adjusted in real time by the clock. Kind of hard to hear. He is connected to this one. Let's try this. Not giving me as much as I'd thought here. So yeah, basically when the filter closes, all you can really hear is the kick and the snare, because a lot of our pattern is built around the hi-hats. It actually reduces it and modifies it quite a bit. So that's just with the filter being adjusted in real time. I don't want to give it too much resonance or the kick drums will distort. Part of this is, of course, you're introducing randomness, so even if it sounds fine for the first 16 bars, you got to be careful that the next 16 don't distort or blow out your speakers or something, unless you're cool with that. Let's dial this guy back down again. In many ways, adjusting the digitizer is giving me more effect on the sound than the filter itself is. And I made this third one. I thought there was a third input to modulate, but actually these two knobs do the same thing, so we don't even really need this guy at all. But this is the sort of classic sound I was going for. I used to do this in Reason when Reason was still at version 2.5 or 3. I would take one of the LFO outputs out of the synths on sample and hold, and I'd plug it into the filter. I think it was called like a distortion machine, but it had a filter setting. And then I would run the entire sampled drum machine through that filter, and as the drum machine played in time with the beat, I would have the filter modulating at a 16-step pattern. Again, I mentioned using the different clock. I could use 8 here instead. Let's do that just for fun and see what we get. Since this one is having more of an effect, let's try it at 8 steps. It's a little bit less noticeable. Yeah. So in some ways you could even say the LFO is like helping out the hi-hats. Like usually the hi-hats are what establish the 16-step feel or a swung feel. I haven't figured out a way to make a swung sample and hold LFO yet, but you could probably do it. You could base it off a triplet rhythm or something. It wouldn't be impossible to do. But yeah, this is the little IDM pattern I had in my head when I started this drum patch, and I just wanted to actually get there and deliver what I promised. and not forget my idea while it's there. I highly recommend this technique on anything. Try it on anything. Feed a field recording, which has no tempo at all, into a filter which is clocked to your tempo of your track, and see how it helps the audio source to sort of force itself into the rhythmic pattern. It should work. Anyway, that's IDM Strums. Just a friendly reminder, we are still hosting the patch archive and the community patches. I'm going to post the links in the description again if you've forgotten how to go there. They're just hosted on Google Drive in a shared folder. So feel free to check those out, because IDM Strums will be in there. Let's save him, drop him into the synth. And I'll just say you definitely want to tune in for our next episode, because I got something exciting for you. So don't miss church with Father Moo. Drums, lead us out.